What's up, and welcome to another edition of Locked On NBA, the biggest stories with the local experts. I'm your host, Jackson Gatlin, also host of Locked On Rockets right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Today, we're joined by Philip Rossman-Reich from Locked On Magic as Dejounte Murray becomes public enemy number one with the latest, most random NBA beef ever between Murray and Paolo Banchero. Where did this beef come from? Why does it even exist? And what do rivalries and beefs like this do for the NBA at large? Is it a good thing to have some rivalries like this in the NBA? But first, a quick message from our friends over at Built Bar, because look, when it comes to protein bars, got to check out Built Bar. They're the number one protein bar on the market, and for a great reason. Every single bar is coated in 100% delicious chocolate. They're soft. They're easy to chew. They're not gritty like other protein bars out there. We've got so many amazing flavors to choose from. You got salted caramel, cookies and cream, raspberry, strawberry, mint brownie, peanut butter, coconut. Coconut brownie chunk is my personal favorite, but you really can't go wrong with any single bar on their menu. Every single bar is low cal, low sugar, high protein, high fiber. Amazing if you're on a keto diet. Amazing if you're trying to cut back a little bit, maybe lose a little bit of weight. You can check them out. Just go to built.com and use promo code LOCK15 to get 15% off your very next order of the best tasting protein bars on the market. Again, that's promo code LOCK15 for 15% off at built.com. Joining us now is Philip Rossman-Reich from Locked On Magic to talk about the freshest, never frozen beef, the newest beef in the NBA between one Paolo Banchero and Dejounte Murray. Philip, this just beef rivalry seemingly popped up overnight, and I have to imagine that there may have been something going on before the stuff that made this whole thing public, right? You saw Paolo Banchero, Dejounte Murray kind of competing in these pro-am leagues and games, and you saw Murray kind of clown Banchero a little bit with the behind the back and the off the board and all this. So, to your knowledge, was there anything kind of preceding this, or was that the catalyst where everything just took off and then they started taking shots at each other on social media?
Yeah, I don't know where this started from. It seemed so weird, and so I saw the play, and I was from Zeke weekend last weekend, and I was just like, oh, that was a really nice play. It's a pro-am, rookie got rooked. It happens, and then you watch it and watch the tape back on that again. And Murray is jawing at Paolo, which, okay, whatever. It's a pro-am. Paolo likes to jaw at people too. It's part of the game, especially in that setting. And then he just chucks the ball at him. And at that point, I was just like, there's something else going on. And if you go watch the extended highlights of that game, I don't know where it started or how it started or why Dejounte Murray was treating a freaking pro-am game like it was a playoff game, because that was the intensity he was playing. If you watch the highlights, Dejounte Murray is playing at an NBA level intensity. And Paolo Banchero, he's a pretty cool, chill dude. He lets things flow off of him. He's just kind of going about his business in a pro-am, and Dejounte Murray is just going after him. And I don't know what started it. Maybe there was something said that ticked Dejounte Murray off, but it's hard for me to believe that it was anything to that level to make a pro-am game feel that intense.
What's crazy too is how quickly, Philip, did Dejounte Murray become public enemy number one in the eyes of Orlando Magic fans based on this whole interaction with Paolo Banchero?
Oh, very, very, very quickly. I mean, Paolo's our guy. We're going to back him. And, it's been very interesting, watching NBA fans react to this and just saying, what is Dejounte Murray, dude? What is this dude's problem? And look, Magic fans want rivalries. We want to hate people. Thank God George Karl stepped in this, because now George Karl stepped in this and said, hey, rookie, you need to be quiet. You don't get to talk trash until you're a veteran. And I'm just like, thank God we could bring back the rivalry with George Karl. We were getting a little too chummy with George Karl since he was the guy that brought Jamal Mosley into the league. The Magic need that old rivalry with Milwaukee Bucks George Karl alive. We need our hatred for the Miami Heat. Frankly, man, it's Dennis Schroeder's team over in Germany with Franz Wagner. We need to hate the Houston Rockets again a little bit too. So look, Magic fans just want relevance. And so to be relevant enough to be talking about this a week later is a win for us. I'm sorry.
Look, I'm sure also coming through, as we navigate this whole upcoming season, I'm sure you and I are going to have plenty of back and forth with Paolo Banchero, Jabari Smith Jr., but that's not the beef that we're going to focus on today, Philip. We're going to keep things concentrated on Dejounte Murray right now, because to me, like, it's almost like this like unprecedented like villain arc that Dejounte Murray is now on. But if you talk to like Spurs fans and people who are like closely following, San Antonio, this isn't exactly like new behavior for Dejounte Murray, but I've had people refer to like the San Antonio Spurs as like the private school of the NBA because they're just like hidden down there. Like nobody's really like paying it. Like there's no antics or whatever. And maybe it's because things were just maybe a little bit more hush hush, like playing under Popovich. You didn't get to see Dejounte Murray with this level of like personality as much, but now he's playing. Like, is this the most villainous backcourt now in the NBA between Trae Young and Dejounte Murray in Atlanta?
It's going to be up there. I mean, I think people like Steph Curry and Klay Thompson enough at this point because they're like legacy players now.
But Klay is so likable. And I'm saying
Klay
that as like a
likable
guy who covers and loves the Houston Rockets. Like Klay's just a lovable guy.
It's hard. It is hard to hate Klay. I personally kind of do because him playing in the NIT when he's back at Washington State cost my Northwestern Wildcats a trip to New York. But that's a story for another day. But yeah, no, I mean, it's pretty. They're pretty high up there. I mean, Trae Young plays to the crowd. Like I think like Trae Young, it's a little bit of an act. Like Dejounte Murray, this feels like he looks for. He's kind of like he's like Michael Jordan without the Michael Jordan talent. He looks for the spite to amp him up. And look, he got amped up in that game. His team won very easily. Paolo treated it like a pro-am game. Dejounte Murray treated it like a playoff, like an NBA game. You can figure out who won from that, but. Atlanta needs that energy. That Atlanta loves that energy. I'll say this, like, I haven't listened to what Hawks fans have said about this whole thing. They're probably loving it because, the Hawks, Atlanta as a city loves to stir the pot like that. That's why they love Trae Young. That's why they love a lot of the things they do. And look, more power to Hawks fans. That's going to be a fun team to watch this year.
And in your eyes, Philip, are beefs and rivalries like this, ultimately a good thing for the league and for the NBA, for the players themselves? Because it kind of, in today's NBA, it almost feels like we don't have many of these anymore. Like it felt like there were more, prominent, like just rivalries head to head, just players that really just did not like each other whatsoever, like in years past. And I feel like a lot of that's kind of calmed down as of late. So to me, it'd be kind of nice to see a new like budding rivalry, hatred, whatever, if that's what you want to call it, between Banchero and Murray here for years to come.
Like the one thing that I think basketball has over so many of the other sports is basketball. It has personality ingrained into its culture. Like you go play on the blacktop, you go play at any gym, you do pickup runs. You are inevitably going to be talking smack to someone. It's your face to face with the guy. You're one-on-one with someone else. You see them. There's no helmet. There's no gear to block your view. It is the most personal. It is the most like kind of visceral, like one-on-one game there is. And the NBA works because it has personality. When Damian waved goodbye to the Oklahoma City Thunder, I was laughing on the floor. We love these guys. Like, look, there may be heroes and villains as far as what fans perceive, but we love these stories. That's why wrestling is still extremely popular. We love these stories. We love the game within the game. It's not just about who won the game. I always say this about the NBA. It's a journey, not the destination. It's about the storylines and the people that get us there. And yeah, you got to have a little swag to be good in the NBA. I have none, if you can tell, but you got to have a little swag. You got to have a little swag. You got to take some stuff personally, and you got to be able to go at it. I mean, shoot, the greatest stories are the guys that do something to shut a fan up or shut some other player on the team up. It's going too small when they put someone too small on you. That stuff is what makes the NBA and what makes basketball so fun. So I'm all for adding personality and not having robots on the floor.
How will this newest rivalry pan out between Paolo Banchero, Dejounte Murray, the Orlando Magic, the Atlanta Hawks? Of course, you're going to cover for all of that and more over at Locked On Magic. Philip, I appreciate you stopping by Locked On NBA with me.
Thanks for having me on, man.